Roll. Hello all. So I've had a bunch of friends that have asked me about my devil's food cake stuffed with cheesecake recipe. And the fact is, it's actually 3 recipes. It's a mocha buttercream frosting recipe. It is the devil's food cake recipe, which is, we're gonna cheat, it's a box cake that's modified. And then it is a cheesecake, a Philadelphia cheesecake recipe. You start the night before, or you gotta give yourself 3 or 4 hours prior to assembling the cake to make the cheesecake. It needs to sit in the fridge for at least 3 hours. We do it the night before, it just makes it easier. The other thing I found is a springform pan works best, and you use this for all 3 layers. So, we'll start with the cheesecake, and then I'll walk you through the other steps. So the ingredients for the cheesecake, you start with a crust. I like to use a ready-made Oreo crust. We melt a 1/4 stick of butter, microwave, about 20 seconds. So we take the melted butter, we crush up the Oreo crust. So once you have it evenly distributed with the butter, you put it into the pan. So after you tamp it down, you get a nice base like that for the cheesecake. Adds a nice little crunch to the finished cake too. Now, because we're very conscientious, health conscientious, so instead of using the full fat Philadelphia cream cheese, we are frugal and conscientious about our weight. We use the Neufatel cheese because it's 1/3 less fat. So a little backstory on the filling of this cake. I've tried numerous ways to put a cheesecake inside of the devil's food cake. And that came from a cupcake that my wife's grandmother used to make. It was a little chocolate cupcake with cream cheesecake inside of it, and it was just amazing. So I did a no-bake because I'm lazy and I wanted to make it as easy as possible. Well, no-bake doesn't set up well. And the truth of the matter is, a baked cheesecake is so easy to make. It's a couple of ingredients, it's really simple. So here's what we're doing. The 4 8-ounce cream cheese, Neufatel cream cheese, a cup of sugar. This is that low-fat sugar. Everything you cook has to have vanilla with it. So you put a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we have the 4 eggs. And we beat this up. We will whip in lightly the mini morsel chocolate chips, which we have a cup of low-calorie, completely artificial, not real milk chocolate chips, because that would be fattening. Goes into the cheesecake spring pan with the Oreo cookie crust. 40 minutes, preheated at 350, and then you put it in the refrigerator, let it sit overnight. The oven for 40 minutes. Middle rack is fine. That's a nice, easy cheesecake. And now we let it cool. Good morning. Birthday boy is coming at noon. We need to get moving. We take the cheesecake out of the fridge. We get a knife. Steak knife, butter knife, doesn't matter. And we go around the perimeter of the cake, releasing it. There is our cheesecake base. You get a piece of wax paper. Grab a flat tray or shallow dish. Flip it over, and it releases. Okay, so the cheesecake is back in the fridge. I have my springform pan clean and ready. I will use Pam with flour. As I said yesterday, I cheat. For people that are upset about me not making this from scratch, you can turn off now. But I modify my box cake. Off we go. So to modify the mix, I put the mix into a big mixing bowl. I add to that about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Instead of water, I use a cold cup of coffee. You can use decaf, but why? Okay, so rather than dirty up another dish or bowl, I just add my oil right on top of my water. In this case, coffee, so I'm at 1 1/3. I'm going to add, again, pure, not impure, vanilla extract. Anything, pancakes, cakes, cupcakes, anything you're baking, vanilla extract's gotta go in. Grandmother taught me that. You know what? She wasn't wrong. We'll add the eggs as we go. It goes into the oven. 325 because we're using a dark pan. The Springform is a dark pan for about 38 minutes. Center rack again. Okay, so the last cake is in the refrigerator cooling, so now we make the frosting. It's a bit of work to put together, but we'll get through it. It starts with a stick of softened butter. My advice is when you get up in the morning to start making your cakes, take the butter out, let it soften up naturally. To that, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of cocoa, 4 teaspoons of instant coffee. First thing we're going to do is cream this together. So I've creamed the butter, the cocoa, and the instant coffee. Now it calls for a dash of salt. Normally it would dissolve and it would be there in the flavor. If you get a little bit of the granular sea salt, it adds a really nice touch when you're eating the cake. You get that little burst of chocolate and salt together, and it's a really special combination. We're going to add 6 cups of confectioner's sugar. We start off with 2. And then we add the other 4 in as we go. We add 6 tablespoons of milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and the 2 cups of confectioner's sugar. And we'll start to blend that together. Okay, so after I put the 2 cups in, and I hand heat that, I then add the other 4 cups using a pallet beater. This hand mixer was actually a wedding present or a shower present for Susie. This is 30-something years old. I think it came from Caldor, for the people that remember that store. So at this point, after your sous chef ices the cake, you've got a lovely dessert. But we're going to give it a little extra love, and it would be nice to use a decorating bag with frosting, but I just grab the Betty Crocker, put the star tip on it, and then I just go around. And there you have it, my Devil's Food triple layer cheesecake stuffed birthday cake. 3 recipes into one. Have fun, enjoy, nice, low calorie diet, and a good cup of coffee goes nice with it.